Welcome to Mental Health Momentum, a Silicon Slopes podcast. I'm Dr. David Morgan. I'm a licensed psychologist and the director of mental health here at Silicon Slopes. And at Silicon Slopes, we recognize the importance of mental health and the effect that it has on businesses and individuals. And to that end, we do this podcast to look for solutions and helps to assist people to improve their lives. And my guest on the podcast today is Katie Bunnell. Katie is a devoted wife, mother of 4, and a dedicated community champion. In 2005, following the unexpected passing of her husband, Katie faced the challenge of providing for her 3-month-old daughter and herself. Determined to earn her bachelor's degree, she struggled with finding childcare and financial support, but eventually completed her degree from Utah Valley University in just 2.5 years. Inspired by her own journey, Katie and her family established the nonprofit Live Your Dream in 2010. This organization provides scholarships to single mothers pursuing higher education, technical training, or boot camps. Live Your Dream empowers these women to believe in their potential and achieve their goals. Katie's commitment to turning her personal challenges into a source of inspiration has earned her recognition, including the Utah Philanthropy Outstanding Volunteer Award in 2002 and the Women 40 Over 40 Award in 2023 for her exceptional philanthropic work in the community. And Katie, I am so happy to have you here. Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, it's so good to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I love in your bio, it talked about turning your personal challenges into a source of inspiration. And that's one of the tenets of what we call emotional resilience, is basically using challenges as fuel to become better. And so that is so awesome, because you and I were talking before the podcast, everyone faces challenges.
Yep.
All the time. And if we can learn how to use those to better ourselves, that's even better, right? Than just having to lament the fact that they happened.
Exactly. Turning pain into purpose is everything, because we can stay stuck.
Yes.
Or we can find ways to thrive and to become our best self after going through any kind of challenge or hardship.
And I love the Live Your Dream Foundation as well, because it's really, like you said, turning pain into purpose, right? I mean, taking your own personal experience of loss at a young age and then using that to understand the individuals who might be in similar situations, either through loss or unplanned pregnancies or whatever it is, right? Being single mothers and saying, you can do this, right?
Exactly.
Being a cheerleader for them. So, well, tell us a little bit about your family, your background.
Yeah, for sure. So in 2005, I was pregnant with my first child. I'd been married to my neighbor growing up. He was 4 years older than me, and I knew his family super well and just adored his family. And we had decided to start having children, and we were just so excited about it. My husband, he suffered from migraine headaches for his whole life. When he was 9 years old, his mom was recognizing that he was missing school and just not doing super well. And then throughout his life, that was something that he had to deal with, were those migraine headaches. And one morning I went to go wake him up, and he just didn't wake up. And it was completely devastating. When I found him, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know that he had passed away. I called his parents. Luckily, they lived next door. We had just moved next door to them, which was a huge blessing that they lived there. And they came over, and I thought, they'll come over and we'll get him up. And when they came over, we couldn't get him up, and my father-in-law had us call 911. We called 911, and then I had to do CPR on him for the first time in my life. I'd never done CPR on someone, and I did breaths, and he did compressions. And as you can imagine, it was a scene that you didn't ever want to be a part of. We got the news that he had passed away, and I was just completely devastated. I was 23 years old, a new mom. I was just trying to figure out breastfeeding and how to take care of our daughter. And my world was just completely rocked. While he was having those migraine headaches, he was having mini strokes, is what we discovered. So his brain had lots of lesions on the brain from those mini strokes, and that morning it just took the best of him, and he didn't wake up. So it was a time in my life of complete and utterly despair, and I didn't think that I was ever gonna come out from that. I mean, people would always say, "Oh man, you had a little girl. Oh, that's so sad that you had a child." And for me, she was my angel.
Was she the purpose almost? Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
She was the one that gave me purpose um and a reason to wake up every day and to think about my future and what I was going to do.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I know you've probably told that story many times, but it probably doesn't get any easier.
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
I love that idea of purpose as well. And because people, when they struggle with mental health issues, so often they feel like they're just stuck and that it's the worst and nothing's going to get any better. And there's this feeling of hopelessness that's attached to it most often, and kind of futility. Um, and learning to get past that and learning that, no, we can get through things, even difficult things. I mean, if people see you now and what you've accomplished, they probably wouldn't have guessed at all, that it may have started by, a significantly traumatic event. I mean,
Hmm.
those things can be very, very difficult to work through. What you did then was kind of turn your example into a way to help other people, and that's through the Live Your Dream Foundation. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so after my husband passed away about a year later, my mother-in-law came to me and she said, "What do you think about going to college?" I'd gone to hair school, but I didn't have any college, and I said, "I can't do that. That's for smart people." I didn't believe that I could go to college. And after much thought, she's like, "I'll go with you." So we went to UVU and I took a semester and I was like, "I absolutely can do this. I don't know why I've been telling myself, I've been getting in my own way by telling
Yeah.
myself that I couldn't do it." And so I went and got my bachelor's degree in just 2.5 years. I went every semester. The thought was of that mom guilt. Should I go back or should I wait until my daughter's older? And so I ended up plowing right through it and got my degree in integrated studies in business and psychology. I actually thought about going and getting a master's and going into become a therapist, but um, that experience was so empowering for me because it showed me that I can do hard things, and a story of telling myself my whole life that I wasn't smart,
Yeah.
to overcome that. And I always say, when you go to school, and you gain that education and you do it for you, it's way more than getting that piece of paper. That journey for me changed my life. And after my experience, my family came to me and they said, "What do you think about starting a scholarship for single moms?" And I was so excited because that was something while I was going to school, I saw that there was a need because
Mm.
this was back, in the 1800s when I was in school. Just kidding. This was, back in the day, there just wasn't those
Sure.
scholarships for single moms. And so we started Live Your Dream in 2010, and we provide scholarships for any single mother in the state of Utah that would like to gain an education to increase their earning potential to better provide for their children. So it can be a certificate for real, to become a realtor,
Hmm.
or it can be a boot camp, or it can be traditional college, anything that will increase their earning potential. As long as they live here in Utah, they can even go online and do a program out of state as long as they live here.
I think it's so interesting because as you were talking about your own experience in college, the main thing that was getting in your way at that time was an disbelief that you could do it, right?
Yep.
Just kind of your own feeling of, well, I'm not capable of this. I'm not smart enough to go to college. All those sorts of things. And then there's other practical limitations like finances,
Oh,
right? I mean,
totally.
those are things that someone may believe they can go to college but don't have the money to, or they might be afraid of taking out student loans or whatever it is. I mean, all sorts of things that can get in the way. Um, so Live Your Dream solves one of those issues,
Yep.
in helping with scholarships. Do you think it helps solve the other issue as well of like the confidence issue? I mean, as you think about what you do, just even the fact that it's out there, are you basically just saying to people, you can do this?
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge piece of what we believe that our scholarships are for, is we provide that hope for these moms. So
Yeah,
once we can get them to apply for the scholarship,
right.
whether it's a neighbor, friend, family member, whatever it is, once they can get them to apply, we feel like that we can be their cheerleaders, that we can help them along the way. We've created a Live Your Dream family. So we have activities like every month for these families. We partnered with Best Seat in the House. This month they're going to be going to Fanex. They've went to some, soccer games, all sorts of different things that they can do with their kids to get out of the house and do things for them. But then, we've partnered with Thanksgiving Heroes with Thanksgiving meals and Christmas support. And things throughout the year that we try and provide that support system for them, because a lot of them don't have, families
Right.
close by, or they don't have a traditional family. And um, so anyways, we try and provide that for them. And we have women that will come in and for an interview and they can't look at us. They're super insecure. They don't feel confident in themselves. They may have been told their whole life that they couldn't do it.
Sure.
And so we interview them, and it's a hard interview for them, and they're shaking, they feel scared. And then when they reapply, because you can reapply multiple semesters, they'll reapply, come in a year later. I'm telling you, it's a different person that we meet. They've got confidence in themselves. They've taken a few classes. They believe in themselves. They probably have had teachers and, people in their classes that have given them support. They did well on a test. They were able to get all of their kids in soccer and make it to work and then school and everything. And they just feel so much more empowered that they can do it. And it's really cool to watch and see that transformation.
You mentioned this as we were talking earlier. I don't remember if it was during the recording or as we were visiting before. The paper, the diploma is one thing, but that what you just described is huge. I mean,
Yep.
that's going to last the rest of their lives, right? This confidence and feeling like they can do it, because then they're going to face another challenge
Exactly.
inevitably down the road, right? And now they'll have this to lean back on. They can say, well, but I was able to do this. I was able to accomplish this. I think that's so amazing. I do, because you have such great experience working with single moms. What are there, do you think there are mental health challenges that are kind of specific to single mothers that they might face that others don't?
They have that mom guilt
Yeah.
that I think, mothers in general feel. They just don't feel like they're enough. They don't feel like they're doing everything that they should be doing. And so that's a constant for mothers in general. And then single mothers, a lot of them are doing that alone.
Yeah.
A lot of them have been through all sorts of challenges, whether it be abuse, whether it be neglect, whether it be abandonment, whatever it is that they're going through. So it's just another layer that they have to go through as being a mom. And I think it's hard when you're going through those things as a mom, because you don't always take care of yourself,
Right.
and so you're battling your internal battle along with trying to raise children that have that confidence and belief in themselves and get them to school and to all of their activities. So I just think that it's a juggle that not a lot of people understand.
There's so much value in serving others and giving of ourselves to benefit the lives of other people. However, we do have to keep our cup somewhat full.
Exactly.
I don't know that it has to be overflowing. I don't know exactly the metaphor to describe, but we do have to tend to ourselves to a certain degree before we can get out there and help others. And I think that's one of the challenges you're describing with mothers and even single mothers probably face it even more, is just that feeling of, I have to give everything to someone else, because they're all I have. Right. And then if you're not taking care of yourself, then that's a problem, because then there's less of you to give. But things like going to school, pursuing an education, that is giving to yourself. That's saying,
Exactly.
I'm making an investment in myself. My next question was about self-confidence and how it impacts mental health. But I think we just kind of talked about that, just how the more people have that confidence. Did you have your own experience with that? Like, as you, like the first day you went to UVU?
Oh, exactly. The first day I went to UVU, I was thinking like, this is a good idea, and I'm probably pleasing my mother-in-law by going, but it was once I, was able to attend that course and realize that I could do it. And when you have that positive outlook on life, that you can do something, you're going to thrive in so many different areas. You're going to succeed in different areas if you have that self-confidence, right? You're going to make better decisions during the day. You're going to move towards the goals that you want to achieve. But when you are in the mindset of, I can't do something, then you're probably not going to recognize the good in your life.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to, go through life in a productive way if you don't have that mindset. And, there's the question of like, when you're in that victim mindset, all of us can probably look at our lives and we have a whole list of reasons to stay in that victim mindset.
Right.
And when we can recognize that list, the victim mindset list, we're not gonna live that way, and we're not gonna let those things stop us, and we're gonna find ways to put a big ol' X over that victim mindset and let that list make us thrive.
Yeah.
I've been in a lot of challenging situations, and sometimes when I'm going through them, I ask myself, I don't know why I'm going through this, but I'm going to learn from this, because if I learn from this, then I'm going to be better.
Yeah.
And I think that that's so important for everyone to combat the things that they go through. Just trying to avoid that victim list and the victim mentality, because when we do, it just holds us back.
Yeah.
And so
I was teaching about this not too long ago and talking about kind of the causes of mental health issues. And there's all sorts of causes. They can come from any number of things. But the solution always starts with us.
mm-hmm.
And that's part of the problem, is that sometimes we think, well, if it's caused by this, then the solution has to be the same thing that caused it, right? So if I was in an abusive relationship, then the solution is when my abuser finally apologizes and takes accountability for what they've done, which that's going to be a really long wait, because usually that never happens, right?
Exactly.
And so you have to, as an individual who has suffered, you have to decide, okay, I'm going to do something about this. Regardless of how this started, I'm the one that can finish it. I'm the one that can make it better. And I think once we appreciate that, it just improves that sense of competence in our lives, where we can say, I am capable of doing difficult things. And then that expands to everything, like we talked about before. And then I think the converse of that, like you said, that victim mindset, I think contributes to mental health issues, because for whatever reason they may have started, if we're stuck in that victimhood, then we think, well, there's nothing I can do about this. I was born this way. This is a chemical imbalance. This is because of what someone did to me. Like I said, all these different potential causes. But we say, but I can do something today. And anytime you do anything, it moves the needle.
Exactly.
It moves it just a little bit forward. It may not solve everything, but it moves the needle. And like you said, it instills that sense of confidence, which then can build on itself. And, you go from day one at UVU to leading a foundation that is helping hundreds, if not thousands of people throughout Utah, right?
Exactly. Well, and if you knew me back when I was a kid, my mom, she was like, hey, Kate, will you go to the neighbor's house and borrow some eggs? Well, I was so shy.
Right.
There was no way that I was going to do that. My mom sat on the porch and watched me. Come on, Kate, kept pushing me, the neighbors on the porch with the eggs. That's all I had to do was grab them and walk over to my mom. But I was scared. So from a young age, I had, I was shy, probably low self-esteem, didn't believe in myself. You look at me now and I'm on a podcast. I've started a foundation, all of these things. And it didn't just happen
right.
overnight. It was because I wanted it. And I think that that's where it has to start, is that you want it so bad that you're willing to do whatever it is. Because again, so many of us have that victim list, and we can write down all of those things on that list. And all those things, like if I showed you, you'd be like, wow, those are really hard things, right?
Right.
But we can combat those.
Yeah.
Those don't have to be our story. And we can take that power back and say, no, I'm going to make my life so much better, because I don't want to live, in that way forever.
So in the foundation, do you have multiple people that work there? Is this a large organization?
So I'm a 14-year volunteer. I have given my time and everything to the foundation. And we were able to, about a year and a half ago, hire our first part-time employee.
Oh, nice.
Because we wanted to give 100% to our cause. And so we had to kind of think, how are we going to grow? And so what we did was we decided that we're going to have 3 buckets that people can donate. And it was the scholarships that we give throughout the year, an endowment fund that we're raising money for so we can give scholarships for generations, and overhead costs.
Okay.
And we have had donors come through for our employees so that we can, in those other areas, in all of the areas, give 100% still to the cause.
Your mindset, I think, can have a terrific impact on kind of, people that work for you, for this one part-time employee in this case, right?
Yeah.
You can be a great example to that person. But even people that are in larger businesses, I don't know, for me, that just seems so important, is trying to model what we're trying to do. We talk about mental health a lot. We we acknowledge that it's important and that it can be an issue. But if we're not backing that up with what we do, I don't know. I think it kind of falls flat.
Exactly. Yeah, and we have a whole board as well that supports the foundation throughout the years. And my board members have been amazing. Most of my board members have been around for like 10 years. And so it's really cool because it's important to me to make sure that they know that they're valued, right? Let them know that you're all volunteers, and I appreciate what you have done for single moms in the state of Utah. And you also support my passion for, starting the foundation with my family, and then also getting to know each one of them and to learn, the different things going on in their lives and how I can support and help them, because sometimes you take, but you've got to be able to give as well. So
I love that you mentioned that, because I wasn't even thinking about a board, but you taking the time to understand them, to get to know them, and to help them feel valued. What's just from your experience, what's one thing that someone could do, like a leader could do, to help someone feel they're valued?
I think straight up telling them that they're valued, because I think sometimes, you do things to make people feel valued, and you think that, that they should reciprocate it as feeling valued, but that may not be what they need. And it can just be just that conversation of letting them know that they're valued, staying in touch with them, and making sure that you're listening to them. Hey, do you have any ideas on this or that, or whatever it is, but just checking in often, and not having it a one-time conversation, that you let them know that they're valued that one time, that one year.
Be advised that you are valued. And it's that email I sent in 2015, right? You should remember that.
Exactly. And that's one of I think my biggest challenges for anyone that donates to the foundation is I want them to know how grateful I am for them. But I would say that that's my biggest challenge, because I feel like I cannot show them adequately my appreciation for them. And so that's an ongoing thing that I struggle with, because I want the people that support the foundation to know just how grateful I am for them. That's so important to me.
Just what you said about direct communication. And if you want someone to know something, tell them that, right? Just tell them directly, because so many times we beat around the bush, or we do things that we think people will assume and say, oh, I'm sure they'll understand this from that. I see that all the time when I see challenges in relationships, when people say, well, she should know this because of what I'm doing. I'm like, no. She should know because you've told her very directly about what you think or about how you feel. That's important. It involves some vulnerability on our part to be able to say that, but that's important too, because that deepens the relationship as we can become, more vulnerable with one another.
Exactly. And getting to know them, right? Like if you get to know them, then you're cheering them on in different things in their life that they're going through, and they feel connected to you. They feel that you see them and that you care about them.
Liveyourfoundation.org. Is that right?
Liveyourdreamfoundation.
Liveyourdreamfoundation.org. Okay.
Yep.
So everyone who's listening, go there, see what you can do, right? See what you can help. And the other thing I was thinking earlier was, let's say that you're not a single mom, so you wouldn't qualify for the benefit, but a single mom.
Exactly.
That's your marching orders, right? Go talk to that person, say, hey, I heard about this thing. You should apply for this. Help them be like your mother-in-law, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Who said, go to college, do this. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be having this podcast right now.
Exactly. We want gatherers in the community to come together, whether it's resources that they can provide, Live Your Dreams, so that we can better provide single moms, or just reaching out to a single mom and telling them about, the foundation. Scholarship deadlines are on April 10th every year and November 1st.
Okay.
And so they can apply twice a year and receive the scholarship multiple semesters.
Oh, that's awesome. Katie, thank you so much for being here, for talking about your history and just sharing this amazing program that's going on. It's such a great blessing to people. And like you said, the money that goes out, the diploma that comes as a result, that's the small price. That's the small reward from that. The large reward is just increasing the mental health, the power of people just to build our communities. And make us stronger.
Yeah, letting people know that we care, right?
Yes. Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure you listen to future podcasts as well. We have more guests and talk about more ways to increase our mental health momentum.